Good morning. We are on page 121 of the Maseches Avoda, and we're learning about the Dishun HaMenorah, cleaning out the menorah, which had to be done in two phases. Remember, we have 13 winners of Lottery 2. Bali Neder tomorrow will begin the shear, depending on how far we get today. We're going to, Bali Neder will begin the shear tomorrow by going over the whole Seder HaAvoda in order, the way we've learned it. I've made a point as we've gone through different parts of the Avoda, that there are different shitos, Rashi, Rambam, Ravid, but we've learned it in a certain order, which is really based on the Pirush Siyata Dishmaya on Maseches Tamid. He has a format of using the shitas in a certain way, and that's basically the Seder HaAvoda we've used. Tomorrow morning, Bali Neder, we will start with the Seder HaAvoda from the time the Mishmar arrived in the Beis HaMikdash through the time they slept in the Beis HaMoged, woke up, etc., until they finish the Avoda of the Korban Tamid Shel Shachar. Bali Neder, we will do that tomorrow. Right now, we're looking at the winner number 4 of lottery number 2. We're going to have to remember for today, because we're going to learn some Mishnayos very quickly. We finish this Maseches Avoda. Lottery number 1 has only one winner. He's going to do the Trumas Hadeshin. Lottery number 2 has 13 winners. The first winner shechted the korban. The second one sprinkled the blood. The third one cleaned the Mizbeach HaKtores, and the fourth one cleaned the menorah. And that's where we're up to, cleaning the menorah. The fourth winner of lottery number 2. And I emphasize again that the order of declaring who winners are is not the same thing as the order in which the avoda occurred. So if the Paya supervisor called out number 82, and the Kohen has a certain Kohen has finger 82, so he was declared the Shocheh. The person to his right was the Zorek. The person to his right cleaned the Mizbeach HaKtores. The person to his right cleaned the menorah. But that's not the order, as we've learned, in which it was done. In fact, cleaning the Mizbeach HaKtores and cleaning the menorah came before the Shechita and the Zrika. So while they declared 82, you are winner number 1, and the next person, you are winner number 2, winner number 1 and the winner number 2, actually waited to do the avoda until winner number 3 cleaned the Mizbeach HaKtores and winner number 4 cleaned the menorah, and then we went back to winner number 1 and winner number 2, and we mentioned that's the sheet of Abba Shaul, and we're going to learn about that more now. The cleaning of the menorah had to occur in 2 phases. The menorah had 7 sticks. We learn out from a pasuk that the 7 sticks had to be cleaned in 2 shifts. First, they cleaned 5 sticks, stop, and then winner number 1 shechted the korban. Winner number 2 collected the blood, brought it to the Mizbeach, and sprinkled it, poured it on the Mizbeach, sprinkled, poured, 2 different acts. Then the winner, number 4, went back to clean the last 2 sticks on the menorah. And we mentioned the Gemara in Yuma deals with why don't you clean 1 and 6? Why is it 2 and 5? We went through that. The Gemara in Yuma learns this out from Sukkim. It had to be done 2 and 5. We're on page 122. And we're in halacha test. I've skipped the pages that talk about how you prepare the oil and how you prepare the wicks. We didn't learn about that in the Maseches Tamid, separate halachas, so I skipped those pages. Halacha test, page 121. HaKohen shezocha b'payis hasheni b'mitzvahs tishan hamenorah. The Kohen who won in lottery number 2 the privilege to clean the menorah, means winner 4, lottery 2. Lokech liyodav es hakuz kad muzhav. He took sort of like a bucket. It was a bowl. It wasn't as wide as the teni that they cleaned the mizbeach with. Now, the V'hosheves Havoda refers you to picture 133. Picture 133 is upside down. If you go back, unfortunately, that's how they printed it. If you go back to page 100, on page 100 in V'hosheves Havoda, you have a picture of the teni. That's the bowl that was used to clean the Mizbeach HaKtores by winner number 3 of lottery number 2. And picture 109 is a picture of the kuz, which we just saw upside down, but that's a picture of the kuz, sort of like a cup. And that cup is for winner number 4 of lottery 2. He's going to clean the menorah, put the oil and the wicks that are left over into that cup. So we're back to page 121. Ogul kad mashav, it's like a cup made of gold. Ogul shepiv tsar, the mouth of it is narrow. V'chelka hatachton holav misrachim, it got wider towards the bottom. Shebo osev litin es Hashem and hanosa b'neiros. It is into this cup that the leftover oil from yesterday will be put. V'eshapsilos hayishanos, and the old wicks. Page 122. Kinesis Hamidashin Lahechel. Now this is, the next paragraph is not exactly the way we learned it. Again, as I mentioned, there's a machlokes between Rishonim, what order certain things were done in. This paragraph here surprises me a bit the way it's written, but besides that, it says, Miyad la'acha sheniftahu sharei ha'heichel nichnas hakohen shezocha b'dishin hamenorah la'heichel yachad im medashin hamizbeach hapnimi. I'm going to leave alone those first 2 words because, in fact, as we learned, and it's pretty clear in the Mishnah, that the person who is winner 3 of lottery 2, and he's going to clean the mizbeach, he's the one that opened the heichel. So I'm not sure what it means when it says that after the heichel was opened, they entered, because the cleaner of the mizbeach is the one that actually opened it. Be that as it may, these 2 kohanim, winner 3, who's going to clean the mizbeach, who we've learned about, and winner number 4, who's going to clean the menorah, they're in the heichel. And the winner number 4, who's going to clean the menorah, he waits until winner number 3, who's going to clean the mizbeach, finishes his job. Umamtim beheichel ad yisayim medashin mizbeach hapnimi es avodaso. The winner number 4 has to wait till winner number 3 cleans and finishes the mizbeach. And then he would approach the menorah and clean the menorah. And we explained this. If we go to diagram number 3, this is the area we're in. We're inside the heichel. When you enter the heichel, you're going to come to the mizbeach first. And then you're going to get to the menorah. So for the reason of ein ma'avirin ala mitzvos, you don't pass over a mitzvah and say, I'll come back to you. First, you clean the mizbeach. Winner number 3 cleans the ash from the top of the mizbeach haktores. And as we learned, he leaves the bowl of ash there, and he leaves. The winner number 4 is going to go to the menorah, clean 5 sticks, stop, and he's going to leave his bowl with wick and oil at the menorah as well, and leave. After the korban is shechted here, and the blood is sprinkled on this mizbeach, the 2 of them are going to go back in. The cleaner of the menorah is going to clean the last 2 sticks and take his bowl. The cleaner of the mizbeach is going to remove his bowl. The 2 will leave together. They will go to the eastern side of the rim of the mizbeach, and at one time pour the ash from the Mizbeach and the oil and the wicks from the menorah in the Beis Hadeshen, so that it would be absorbed in the ground by a miracle and would only require one miracle, as we learned last week and the week before, in order not to require the Ribono Shalom to perform multiple miracles. They both poured it together in the same place, so it only needed one miracle to absorb into the ground. So the Medashe Mizbeach in picture 134, winner number 3 has finished cleaning the Mizbeach. Winner number 4 is now going to approach the menorah. Yud Aleph, page 122, Yud Aleph. HaMenorah munachas beheichel bechetzio ha'ma'aravi. The menorah was in the western part of the heichel. Again, diagram number 3. This is our heichel. The menorah, if you split the heichel in half, in the first half of the heichel, meaning the eastern part of the heichel, you have the Mizbeach. And sort of on the western half, you're going to have the menorah and the left and the shulchan. And of course, you have the Amatraxin, the curtain, and the Kodesh Kadoshim behind it. So we have just been taught that the menorah is in the northern half of the heichel. The menorah was near the southern wall. The shulchan was near the northern wall. And the menorah was 2.5 amos away from the wall of the heichel. Here's your menorah. And the menorah is 2.5 amos away from the wall of the heichel. Now look at how your menorah is placed. And that's the next words in the V'hoshev es Avoda. V'orcha, the length of the menorah, nosun be'mizrach l'mayev. It's east to west. And that's how they're showing it in the picture. The sticks of the candles are going from east to west. The sticks of the candles could have gone this way, north to south. And there's a shita in the Gemara that way. It's a machlokas in the Gemara, where the sticks of the menorah going east-west or north-south. This picture is showing you east to west. So when the Kohen comes in, this is very important to understand, when the Kohen comes in, and the Mizbeach has already been cleaned by winner number 3. Winner number 4 is going to approach the menorah. When he approaches the menorah, he's going to approach the easternmost stick. If the menorah was switched between north and south, it'd be a whole different picture. But our picture is east to west. He's going to approach the easternmost stick, and he's going to ignore it for the time being, which is an exception to what we just said, ein mavir and ala mitzvahs. If you want to clean the menorah, where would you start from? The easternmost stick and work your way. So you would do stick number 1 through stick number 5, stop, and then do the westernmost 2 sticks. In other words, the 2 sticks that are closest to the Kodesh Kadoshim would be the ones you would do last. Instead, as we learned in the Mishnah, we're going to learn now, he skips the first two eastern ones, although those are the ones he came to first. He skips them. And he's going to clean the 5 western ones first. Why? We will see now. Yud Beis on page 123. Kevan shehamenorah hoisa gavoa shmona asa tfachim. Since the menorah, the height of the menorah was 18 tfachim. 18 tfachim means we're talking about 6 feet. So since the menorah was 6 feet high, now you can light the menorah if it's 6 feet high and you're 6 feet tall or 6 feet 2. But you can't clean the menorah because you have to be able to reach above the cups of the menorah, remove the wicks, and remove the oil. So you need to be taller than 6 feet. So since the menorah was that high, therefore in front of the menorah they put a set of steps, a step stool, so to speak. But it's 3 steps made out of stone. The the Kohen stepped up and he was able to clean the menorah. By now, his head is above the menorah and he's looking down so he can clean the menorah. These steps came to halfway up the menorah. So if the menorah is 18 tefachim high, the steps were 9 tefachim high. So the Kohen is now standing on the pedestal that's halfway up the menorah, and he can easily clean the menorah. If you take a look at picture 137, and that's the picture we're going to focus on because there are other pictures that we're going to see on page 125 that aren't exactly consistent with this picture. Let's focus on this picture. Picture 137 on page 123. The menorah, as we said, is going east to west. Beyond the west, you see a curtain. That curtain is the curtain that separates the Heichal from the Kodesh Kadoshim. So this is an appropriate picture if you're going east to west. In other words, this is east, the easternmost stick. We're moving west, and as we move west, we're going to get to the curtain of the Kodesh Kadoshim. This is fine. Let's focus on this picture. The Kohen, when he comes in, he's going to walk up these steps. He is not going to clean these eastern 2 sticks. He's going to focus on these 5. And now it depends whether he found them lit in the morning or he found them burnt out in the morning. But these 2, the first 2 eastern ones, he's going to basically ignore, clean these 5, stop, leave the bowl of ash on the second step, wait for the shechita and the sprinkling of the blood, and then come back in and clean the easternmost sticks. So let's focus. You can either look at picture 135, or you can look at picture 137. It's more practical for us to look at picture 137 because the pictures are a bit confusing as to what direction what's going in. Okay, page 123, Halacha Yud Gimel. Im Motzei HaKohen Eshnei Haneros HaMizrachim Dolkin. Possibility number 1. The Kohen walks in, winner number 4 walks in, and he finds the easternmost 2 sticks still lit. Mash'iram kach. He just leaves them. He does nothing with them. Baruch Hashem, they're lit. Over lechameishes haneros hanusafim. He then moves westward towards the 5 remaining sticks. Vim gam bohem yesh adayin dolkin. If among the 5 remaining sticks there are several, 1, 2, or 5, whatever it is, that are still lit, machaba osam. He extinguishes them. He blows them out because he has to clean them in preparation for the new lighting. I note that the new lighting is going to occur. We're learning Pashut now. The lighting is going to occur in the afternoon, Bein Ha'abayim. So although the new lighting is going to occur later today in the afternoon, the cleaning and preparation for the lighting in the afternoon was already done as part of the avoda in the morning. So he comes in winner number 4. The first 2 are lit. The last 5 are extinguished. The most perfect situation. He's going to now be able to remove the wick and the oil from the last 5. He walks in, possibility 2. The eastern 2 are lit, and there are some still lit amongst the 5 western sticks. Whichever ones are still lit, blows them out. Umesimehem es hashemen hayosher. He removes the old oil from those 5 sticks. Page 124. Es hapsilos, the wicks. The es ha'efer, and any ash. Ayedei tzeves kotam, through a small tweezer. You're looking at picture 138 and 139. Umachta, and he has a little shovel. Umeniach hakol bakuz, and he puts the wick and the oil and the ash in that little kuz, that little cup he had. Achakach minaka umakaneach besvog, and then he takes a sponge and he cleans out the inside of the cup that's on top of the stick. They're showing you a picture, number 140. The top of the stick has a cup in which the oil and the wick were. They're showing you sort of a sponge. Whatever oil was still in there, he sponged that out so that the cup was clean. And in these 5 sticks, he's going to put in new oil and new wick. First, he puts in a new wick, and then he pours in the new oil. We're going to skip Yudalit because that's just another sheet on how that was done, and it's not consistent with the sheet as we were learning it. So far, we've done 2 possible options. Possibility number 1, winner number 4, walk in. The first easternmost sticks are lit. The last 5 are burnt out. Perfect. Leave the first 2 alone. Clean out the last 5. Possibility number 2, he walks in, finds the first 2 lit and several of the last 5 lit. Leave the first 2 alone. Whichever of the last 5 are lit, blow out. Clean out the last 5. Stop. Possibility number 3. Matzah, which is on page 125. Matzah shnei neiros mizrachiyim kavuyim. What happens if winner number 4 comes into the Heichel and finds the 2 easternmost sticks also burnt out? I don't know what the material of the svog was made of. It was made of whatever material, I assume, absorbed oil as best as it could. I don't know what the actual sponge material was. I'm not sure if there's any source for it. It was just whatever works, works. It's not a Kli Kodesh, it's not a Kli Shoretz. So now we have possibility number 3. The 2 candles, easternmost candles that we would have liked to have been lit, they're extinguished. Tesvot, im kshenichnas motza eshnei haneros hamizrachim shekvar kavu. If winner number 4 comes into the Heichel and finds the 2 easternmost sticks have already been extinguished, ein makayim miyad hatobas chamesh neiros, he does not proceed to clean the other 5 sticks, because we have to be in a position where the cleaning of the menorah is going to be done in 2 phases, 2 and 5. So if everything is extinguished, we're not going to have the ability to have 2 lit, 5 cleaned, and then come back. So we have to have a situation where the 2 easternmost are lit, and he's going to clean the last 5. So if the first 2 are lit, perfect. That's ours, possibility number 1. What happens if the 2 easternmost he finds in the morning to have been extinguished? Im kshenichnas motza shnei haneros hamizrachim shekvar kavu, ein makayim miyad hatovas chamesh. He doesn't go to clean the other 5. El tzorach lahadlik shnei hamizrachim tchila, ve'ein medashlam legamrei kishar hatovas chamish neros b'psila v'shemen chodosh, el meser es hapecham merosh hapsila, u'magbia es hapsila, kidei she'ei nitin lachzor adlika. What he's going to do to the 2 easternmost sticks, if he found them extinguished, he's not going to clean them out. What he's going to do is he's going to clean off the top of the 2 wicks, ash them off, pull up the wicks a little, sort of the thing we would do in a Hanukkah menorah. He's going to clean off the top of the 2 easternmost wicks from the ash, pull them up a bit. If it needs oil, he'll add a little oil, and he will light them. So he's not doing a full cleaning job on the 2 easternmost sticks. He's not going to pull out the wicks and clean out all the oil. He's going to leave the old wick in there and the old oil in there. He's going to just clean off the top of the wicks, pull them up. If it needs a little more oil, he'll put oil in it, and he will light it. Now that the 2 easternmost ones are lit, he can do the cleaning of the westernmost 5. Umadlikam me'elu shadayin dolkin. Now, how does he light the first 2? The first 2 were extinguished. He cleaned off the 2 top wicks. He added a little oil. Now, how does he light them? So if amongst the 5 westernmost sticks there is still a lit wick, he's going to light it from that wick. We're going to learn in a moment how he lit it from that wick. But if amongst the last 5 is a wick that's still lit, he's going to use that wick and he's going to light the first 2. How does he do it? The first possibility is, remember, we're working under possibility 3. The 2 easternmost wicks are extinguished. Clean off the top, add some oil, light them. How do you light them? Option 1, if any of the 5 westernmost wicks are still lit, he will take a tweezer and he will tweeze up, remove the 2 easternmost, one at a time, the 2 easternmost wicks. He will bring it to the wick of the 5 remaining ones that are lit. He will light the wick and then put it back in its stick. Al Yedei Shem Moshe, again, first line on page 126, Al Yedei Shem Moshe Hapsila Umakarva Lener Hadolek Umadlika Umachazira Limakoma. You take the wick, the 2 easternmost wicks, one at a time, pick them up with a tweezer, take them to one of the 5 westernmost wicks that is still lit, light it, bring it back to its cup and put it back in the cup. A kisei, a stick in between, is not permitted for those who learned the sugya on Hilchas Chanukah in Shabbos, in Bameh Madlikin, on Daf Chaf Beis Amud Aleph, Chaf Beis Amud Beis. There's a sugya about whether you're allowed to light Ner Chanukah through a kisei. In other words, you light, leave out the shamash for now. Is it permissible, you have a candle, it's the 6th night of Hanukkah, and you lit 2 candles. Are you allowed to take in your shamash, or whatever the case is, can you take a kisei and light a kisei, a twig, from one of the Hanukkah candles in order to light another Hanukkah candle? Al Yedei Kisei. In other words, an intermediary stick is going to be used to light candle 5 from candle 6. Are you allowed to do that? The reason that's a shaila on Hanukkah is because it's a shaila in the Beis HaMikdash. And we don't do that. We don't put for example, in our case, the 2 easternmost wicks are out. The Kohen has to light them. He cleans the ash off, pulls up the wick, and now he takes a little stick. He goes to one of the western wicks, lights the stick, and now lights the 2 easternmost wicks. You're not permitted to do that. That's called al yidei kisei, through a twig. You're not allowed to light a twig and then light the other wicks. The wicks were lit from wicks, with one exception we'll see in a moment. The wicks were basically lit from wicks, so that if the easternmost wicks are not lit, clean off the top, lift the wick up, add some oil, take a tweezer, lift the wick up, take it to one of the western wicks that are lit, light it, bring it back and put it into its cup. What happens if in our scenario where the 2 easternmost wicks are burned out, and all the 5 westernmost are also burned out. So now what do? Where do you get a fire to light the first 2 easternmost wicks? Omnam, page 126, in kvar kovu kol haneros, if all 7 wicks are burned out, maybe gacheles dolekes mimizbeach ha'ola, he brings a burning ember from the mizbeach ha'ola, from the ma'aracha, lahaver eish mimena, in order to transfer fire and light the 2 easternmost wicks. Tesayin. Ka'es, now, Shashnei Haneros Tolkit, now that we got the 2 easternmost wicks lit, Medashe es Hameshes Haneros Hanosafim. Now he is prepared to clean the 5 westernmost wicks, cups. He's going to remove the oil, remove the wicks, remove the ash, sponge out the cup. All of it's going to go into his kuz, into his cup. After he's cleaned the 5 westernmost sticks, he's cleaned out 5 westernmost sticks. The ash, the oil, the wick are in the cup. He puts the cup on the 2nd step that's in front of the menorah, picture 143. V'yotze mehahechel, and our winner number 4, who just did 5 sticks, leaves the hechel because he can't clean the other 2 until there's going to be shchitas hakorban and zerikas hakorban, according to the way we learned, according to Abba Shol. So he's going to leave the hechel. He has nothing to do there right now, so he leaves. After the shchita and the zerika of the korban, he's going to come back in to clean the last 2 sticks. V'lo mishtachave b'yitzios. This is a halacha we have not learned yet. When a Kohen finishes his avoda, he does a hishtachavaya. He bows down. We'll learn about what a hishtachavaya is. But at this point, when the Kohen, winner number 4, leaves the hechel, he does not bow. And similarly, winner number 3, who cleaned the mizbeach, did not bow because he didn't finish his avoda either. Winner number 3 cleaned the whole top of the mizbeach haktoves, but he left the bowl of ash there. Winner number 4 only cleaned 5 sticks of menorah and left the cup of ash on step number 2 in front of the menorah. When each of them left, they did not bow because they have to come in to finish their work. Kivan Shadain Loigomers Avodah. Neither of them have finished the avoda, therefore they do not do a hishtachavoya. Shaharei nosu shnei noras hamizrachim shetzorach lativam lacha haktoras. Because there's still 2 more sticks that have to be cleaned. For us, we can put in brackets those last words, haktoras, because that's not like Abba Shol. We're learning it's la'acha, shchita, uzrika. The avoda that split, cleaning 5, stop, and then clean 2. What happened during that stop? Abba Shol holds what happened during that stop was shchitas hakorban and zrikas adam, and then you clean the other 2. That's the sheet of Abba Shol. The psak, according to most Rishonim, the Hashavas Havod is going according to another sheet in the Gemara that clean 5, stop. During the stop, you burn the incense and then go back to clean 2. This is not the sheet according to which we learned, so you can put those words in brackets, mental brackets, physical brackets, whatever works for you. So that's the Hatovas, that is the Hatovas HaMenorah. And for our purposes, now that we clean 5 sticks, there's going to be a pause. Winner 3 has left. Winner 4 has left the Heichel. The Kohen who won lottery, the winner 1, the lottery 2 is going to do the Shrita. Winner 2, lottery 2 is going to do the Zrikas Hadam. And then winner number 4 is going to go and clean out the last 2 wicks. And then there's going to be a whole new wick we haven't learned about yet, who's going to burn the incense on the Mizbeach HaKtoros. That's where we're up to. There's a whole discussion about the splitting of the 5 and the 2. We talked about the fact the Gemara, learns out that it couldn't be 6 and 1. In other words, why don't you just ignore the first Eastern one and clean the next 6? Why do you ignore the first 2 and do 5? Why can't you ignore 3 and clean 4? How did we get the 5 to break? The Gemara learns it out of a pasuk. But now we have a different question. The sticks are going east to west. We have the rule of Ein Ma'avirin ala mitzvahs. You don't pass by a mitzvah, and that's why the cleaning of the Mizbeach in the Heichal occurred before the cleaning of the menorah in the Heichal. Fine. Now we got to the menorah. What are the first sticks the Kohen will approach as he walks towards the menorah? The menorah is east to west. He's going to approach the eastern sticks. So why doesn't he clean those out first? Why does he ignore them and move on to the 5 sticks after the 2 eastern sticks? And that has to do with something called the concept of Ner Ma'aravi, the Western candle. Miracles happen with the Western candle. It never went out in the good times of the Beis Hamikdash. The Gemara says Ner Ma'aravi Hayadoilek was a special miracle. Now, what's the Ner Ma'aravi? So if we take a look at our picture number, the one we're focusing on, 142, and the candles are going east, the sticks are going east to west, and for our purposes, the curtain is the Kodesh Kadoshim, and therefore this is west. So the Kohen is going to ignore these first 2 sticks, and he's going to clean these 5 sticks as he moves westward. The Ner Ma'aravi, the western stick, is not the stick near the Kodesh Kadoshim. The western stick is stick number 2. Stick number 2 is the miracle stick, which the Gemara tells us, quote unquote, in the good times, meaning when things were going well in the Beis Hamikdash. The Ner Ma'aravi was doleg. It was a miracle. And how they dealt with Ner Ma'aravi is a sugi in the Gemara. The sugi in the Gemara Menachos. It's also sugi partially in the sugi in the Bamei Madlikim in the Chanukah sugya. Is a sugya, a subject that's dealt with in the Chanukah sugya about this Ner Ma'aravi. Why is the second stick, which is on the east, called the western stick? For reasons of relativity. The first stick is the eastern stick. Relative to the first stick, the eastern stick is already moving westward. So the first stick is, quote unquote, a pure eastern stick. It is on the east. If you start moving beyond the first stick, you are now moving westward. So the second stick is called the Ner Ma'aravi, the western stick, not the one that's at the western end near the Kodesh Kadoshim. The second stick from the east is the Ner Ma'aravi, because relative to the first stick, you're already moving west. So it is that second stick that was Dolek Benes. And it was from that stick that, generally speaking, the other 5 were lit. And that's a whole discussion in the Gemara, discussion in Menachos, discussion in Shabbos, how they lit the other 5 wicks from the Ner Ma'aravi. You have to have a very long wick to light wicks. It's machlokas, we've shown him how they did that. At any rate, when the best of circumstances existed, the Kohen, winner number 4, would walk into the Heichal. He would find the first 2 easternmost wicks lit. Most importantly, the second one, which is called the Ner Ma'aravi. The second wick from the east is the Ner Ma'aravi, and when times, quote unquote, were good and the avoda was good, everybody was behaving, so to speak, the Ner Ma'aravi would remain lit benes, 24/7. And then the Kohen would go to the last 5 westward sticks. If any of them were lit, he'd blow them out. and then he would clean them out completely, wick, oil, ash, put them in his cup, put the cup on the second step of the menorah, leave without a hishtachavaya, wait for the shechita and the zrika, come back in and clean the first two. Now, what did he clean in the first two? The first one. The second one is the Ner Maravi. What did he do with the Ner Maravi? There was a mitzvah to clean it and change the oil. That's again a machlokes what he did at the Ner Maravi. And from that Ner Maravi, he then later in the afternoon lit the other 5. So in the afternoon, the Ner Maravi was already lit. It was lit there by miracle. He would have to light the one right next to it, that eastern one, and light the next 5 all through the Ner Maravi. How did they do that? It's a question. The Ner Maravi may have had a very long wick so that it reached each of the other 5, or the other 5 had long wicks and they were able to reach the Ner Maravi. All kinds of shitas, but at any rate, the lighting in the best of times was done through the Ner Maravi, the second stick after the eastern stick. Okay, this is where we're going to stop the V'hasheves Havoda for the time being, and we're going to go back to Mishnah in Tamid. And we're going to learn this very, very quickly. We're going to do a whole perek, hopefully within 10 minutes, a whole perek. And this is perek Dalid. It's on page 16 through 17 of your V'hashev Es Havoda. Before we can do that whole perek, the reason we're going to do the whole perek quickly is this is the perek where the Mishnah describes each part of the animal, how it was cut, the pieces it was cut into. We're not going to go into all of that. You have plenty of pictures of it if that's something you want to learn about. It's pages 128. Let's see, 128. If you want to be a shochet, you can start learning this. It's 128 through 149. They're giving you a biology course of the inside of an animal, each part, lungs, heart, everything that was cut out and how it was cut out in the base Hamikdash, in the Avodas HaKorban. So we're not going to go into all the different parts of the animal and how they were cut. We will read it, and there's only one important fact that we need for our purposes, and that is we're dealing with the 9 winners. Let's go back to page 15 of V'hashev Es Havoda, Perek Gimel. Perek Gimel begins, what we're going to learn today is Perek Daled, but to remind us of what we're going to learn, we're going to go to Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph, page 15 in V'hashev Es Havoda. Amalahem Hamamuna, the supervisor of the lotteries, said to them, we're done with the first lottery. We're done with the Shumas Hadeshin.
Hello?
The supervisor of the lottery said, let's get back together and do the next lottery. And that was done in the Lishkas Hagazis. And from this lottery, lottery 2, we're going to have 13 winners. The supervisor of the lottery said 67, 98, whatever he said. They put out 1 or 2 fingers. He started counting. Boom, here's 93. You are Shochet. Next to him, Zoreg. Next to him, cleaner of the Mizbeach HaPnimi. Next to him, the cleaner of the menorah. That's 4 so far. We have 4 winners. Winner 1, shechting the animal. Winner 2, sprinkling the blood. Winner 3, cleaning the Mizbeach HaKtoris. Winner number 4, cleaning the menorah. We need to have 9 more winners. 6 of those winners are going to be taking the parts, different parts of the animal to the ramp of the Mizbeach. The way the parts of the animal were brought to the Mizbeach to be consumed by fire was in 2 stages. First, the parts of the animal would be brought to the ramp of the Mizbeach and left on the ramp. Then later, as we'll learn in the Mishnah, the same 6 Kohanim, or a different Kohen, 2 different Shittas, went back to the ramp and brought these parts of the animal to the Marocha Gedola, to the big Marocha, and these limbs were then put on the Marocha Gedola to burn. So once the limbs were cut, once the animal was shechted and the different limbs and parts were cut, we had 6 different Kohanim and the limbs were washed, etc. We learned about that. Now the limbs were brought by 6 different Kohanim to the ramp and placed on the ramp and salted on the ramp. Nothing, with rare exception, gets burnt on the Mizbeach except if it's been salted first. The salting will occur on the ramp. So page 15, where are these 9 additional winners? Amalem Hamamuna Bo Bafisu. Mishochet, 1. Mizorek, 2. Mimedashim Mizbeach Hapnimi, 3. Mimedashim Es Hamanora, 4. And we've learned about those 4 winners. Now we're going to the next 9 winners, 6 of whom are going to deal with animal parts. Mi Mala Evorim Lakebesh. Who is going to bring up the different animal parts to the ramp? Number 5, winner, Harosh V'Harega. The head of the animal and the right leg. Ushtei Hayadayim. Winner number 6, I'm keeping my numbers straight. Winner number 6 is going to bring to the Mizbeach the 2 front legs of the animal. Ha'oketz V'Haregel. Number 7, winner 7 is going to bring the tail and the left leg. Winner 8, Hechoze V'Hagera. The chest of the animal and the gera, sort of the neck. Ushtei Defanos. That's winner 9. He's going to bring the 2 sides of the animal. Hakravayim. Winner 10 is going to bring the insides of the animal to the ram. So we have 10 winners. So we have the first 4, the Shochet, the Zoreh, cleaner of the Mizbeach Hapnimi, cleaner of the menorah. 6 different Kohanim bringing the parts of the animal to the Mizbeach. That's 10 winners. And now we have 3 more winners. Vahasoles, a Kohen is going to bring flour to the Mizbeach, because with the Korban Tamid there is also going to be a flour offering brought, and in the flour is already mixed in oil. Vahachavitin, the 6 challahs, there are 12 challahs baked every morning on behalf of the Kohen Gadol, who paid for them. And this is only the Kohen Gadol. Every day, 12 challahs are offered, and they're called chavitin because they are sort of made like almost in a frying pan. And they were brought 6 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. We're on page 15. 6 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. That's the chavitin. So that's our winner number 12. He's going to bring 6 of these challahs to the Mizbeach in the morning. Vahayayin, and there's going to be a winner number 13 who's going to bring the wine to pour on the Mizbeach. So pious number 2 has 13 winners. The first 4 are the Shochet, he's going to slaughter the animal. The Zoreg, sprinkle the blood. Then we have the cleaner of the Mizbeach HaKtores, the cleaner of the menorah. Those are 4 winners. The next 6 winners are responsible to bring the animal's parts to the ram. That's 10. The last 3 are going to be responsible for the flour to the Mizbeach, which has oil in it. The chavitin, 6 of the 12 chalos of the Kohen Gadol, and the wine to pour. So lottery number 2 has 13 winners, and they're broken basically into 3 segments. Segment 1, Shochet, Zorek, Medashim, Mizbeach, Hapnim, Medashim, Menorah. 6 who are going to bring the animal parts of the Mizbeach, and the last 3 are bringing other things to the Mizbeach, the flour, oil, the chavitin, and the wine. Those are our 13 winners for lottery number 2. So now let's go to page 16. We're going to read page 16 to 17. Mishnah Aleph we've already learned. No, there's the right leg and the left leg. One Kohen brought the 2 front legs. Then there's a Kohen who brought the head and the right leg. And there's a separate Kohen who brought the left leg and the okets. One Kohen brought the 2 front legs. I'm sorry, one Kohen brought the 2 front legs. One Kohen brought the head and the right back leg, and one Kohen brought the tail and the rear left leg. Okay, that's Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph, page 15. We're now moving on to page 16, Perek Daled, Mishnah Aleph. We've learned Lo hayakovsim es hataleb. We're going to learn the way we learned it the first time, Rashi, not according to the Rambam. They would not tie the 2 front legs together and the 2 back legs together, or all 4 legs together before shechita. It's a big animal. They have to hold it down so they can shecht it properly. If it moves around, the shechita can become puzzle. So they didn't tie the front 2 legs together and the back 2 legs together, or all 4 legs together, because that's the way the Avodah Zarah people offered their karbanos. What Yidden did was like an Akedah, Ella Ma'aktin also. They made it like into an Akedah Sitzchak, front leg, front right leg, back right leg, front left leg, back right leg. They tied it together. The Rambam mentioned different shita. They didn't tie anything. They tied it together, and as you remember, there's Tabaot on the northern side of the Mizbeach, diagram number 3. In our Maseches Tamid, there are 24 rings in the ground. Every mishmar had a ring, and we learned about the Tamid ring. In the morning, they used a western ring, so there was opposite the sun that was in the east. In the afternoon, they used an eastern ring, so it was opposite the sun that was in the west, to show that the korban has no relation, chas v'shalom, to worshiping the sun. Mishazahu Beivarim Ochsenbo, the 6 Kohanim who would eventually take the animal parts up to the ram, those 6 Kohanim would assist in holding the animal down. And this is how they held it down. Rosh Ladorim, the animal was facing south. Upanav Rosh Ladorim was facing south. Upanav Lamaira, but they twisted the head, they turned the head. The animal was laying on its left side, so that his face, the face of the animal, was westward towards the Heichel. HaShochet Omi B'Mizrach Upanav Lamaira, the Shochet, winner number 1 of lottery 2, stood east and faced west. Shel Shacha Hayinishchat Al Keren Tzvoinis Marobis Al Tabah Shnia, Shel Bein Arbaim Hayinishchat Al Keren Mizrach Tzvoinis Al Tabah Shnia. We learned this. We went through the picture of the rings. Again, whatever number it is, we're not going to go through that again right now. In the morning, they used a western ring. In the afternoon, they used in the morning they used a western ring. In the afternoon, they used an eastern ring to show that the korban has nothing to do with where the sun is. Shochet HaShochet V'Kibel HaMakabel, the Shochet slaughtered the animal. The Makabel, winner number 2, collected the blood right from the neck of the animal into a vessel. Bolo Leker Mizrachas Sephonis, he came to the northeast corner of the Mizbeach. Venose Mizrachat Sephona, Marobas Derobas, he then went to the opposite corner, southwest. Venose Maroba Deroma. This is called Shtayim Shem Abba. I'll show you a picture of this in a moment. Shiobi Adam Shefech Al Yisrael Deroimus. The rest of the blood that was in the vessel, he poured on the southern corner of the Mizbeach. You have a picture of this in your V'Hoshev Es HaAvoda. We in fact looked at this one time. If you take a look at page 114, the Kohen, picture 124 and 124 Aleph, the Kohen is holding the Mizrach, and he's going to stand at 2 opposite ends of the Mizbeach, northeast and southwest, and he's going to he's going to splash the blood, not sprinkle it, He's going to splash the blood on each corner. He's only going to splash the blood twice, but the blood will end up on all four corners on the mizbeach. So picture 124 is showing you flipping, splashing the blood northeastern corner of the mizbeach, and therefore the blood went to the north and went to the east. He's standing in a position where if he splashes the blood from that vessel, the mizrach, it's going to end up on two sides of the mizbeach. That's one splash. He then walked to the opposite side of the mizbeach, 124 aleph, and gave the second splash, which is southwest of the mizbeach. And now that splash ended up on the southern side of the mizbeach and the western side of the mizbeach. So now all four sides of the mizbeach have dam hatamid on it. Two splashes, all four sides have blood. Whatever blood is left in the mizrach after those two splashes, you can go to the next page, 116, picture 125. There are two holes at that corner of the mizbeach. One hole is west, one hole is south, and the leftover blood is being poured into the southern hole of the little piece of the southern foundation of the mizbeach. We learned in Maseches Tamid why two sides of the mizbeach did not have full foundations, because those areas of the mizbeach were in territory that belonged to Yehuda. The rest of the Azorah was territory that belonged to Binyamin. We learn out from a pasuk that blood can only be offered in Chelko Shel Toref. You can only offer blood that's in the chelik of Binyamin, who's called a Toref. Other than that, the blood can't be offered. So to the extent that any part of the foundation of Mizbeach was in Yehuda territory, they didn't even, to the extent any part of the foundation could be in Yehuda territory, they did not build a foundation there because blood can't be spilled there. And we learned this, we had a very nice color picture when we learned in Maseches Tamid about where Yehuda's chelik was in the Azorah and where Binyamin's chelik was. So this is the corner 125, picture 125 on page 116. This is the southwest corner of the Mizbeach. The western side has a hole for other purposes. The southern side, as you can see, the western side has a complete foundation. That's all Binyamin territory. The western side has a hole for other purposes. The southern side has just a tiny piece of foundation that does not continue. And on that southern side hole is where the leftover dam of a korban tamid was poured. So they splashed the blood twice on two opposite corners, northeast, southwest, one splash in each corner. Each splash hit two sides, so all four sides of the mizbeach had blood. The leftover blood, southern hole of the foundation. Okay, let's take a look now quickly at page 16 and 17. Mishnah Beis. And now it's going to talk about the 6 winners who are going to take the body parts, the animal parts of the korban up to the ram. And they're going to place them on the ram and leave them there and come back to them later. And they're going to salt them on the ram. And then later, the actual body parts, the animal parts, will be brought to the Maracha Gedolah to be consumed there. Page 16, Mishnah Beis. I'm just reading it. Lo hayeshova bo es haregel, you didn't break a leg. Elanokvo mitoch akuva v'tolabo. These are all body parts of the animal. Hayamafshit v'yored ad shumagia lechoze higia lechoze chosach esarosh unason lemisha zachabo. This is all that we're going to be reading and concerned with right now. Winner number 1 got the head and the right back leg. So it says chosach esarosh. He gave it to winner number 5, the head. Those 2 front legs, winner number 6. He cut the front 2 legs and he gave it to the next winner. All the regel hayamones chatocha nesana misha zachabo, the right leg, etc. And I'm not keeping track of the numbers. We went through the numbers. These are going to be 6 separate kohanim who won the lottery, and as the pieces are cut, they are going to be, and they're washed, they're going to be given to the individual winners. He took the insides, and he gave it to the person who was zocha in the krovayim, so that he can personally wash them. V'hakeres madichnas so bebeis madichin kol tzorcha, v'hakrovayim madichnas shloish pam b'miuta al shulchana shel shaya sheveim amudim. The krovayim you washed out on those marble tables. Diagram 3, midos, the shulchanos, the 8 tables to the north of the mizbeach. That's where you would wash the krovayim. Mishnah Gimel. Not alas hasakin, he took the knife. V'hifresh es hareya min hakoved. Dealing with lungs, liver, kidneys. V'etzba hakoved min hakoved. V'lohoya mezizim im koma. Not nakav es hachozim nesam l'misha zachaboy. Ola doifen hayamones hayachoisech v'yored at hashidva. He's at the spine. V'lohoya nogeya bashidva. Ad shu magir l'shtei tzlos rakos. Chatacha u'nesam l'misha zachaboy. He gave those parts to the person who won that lottery. V'hakove tluya bo. Bolo lagever niech bo shtei tzlos mikan u'shtei tzlos mikan. Chatacha, he cut it, u'nesam l'misha zachaboy. He gave it to the next winner. V'hakona v'alei v'hareya tluya bo. Bolo ladofen hasmolis, he came to the left side of the animal. V'niach bo shtei tzlos rakos l'malum u'shtei tzlos rakos l'mat. We're talking about the ribs. V'kachoy maniach b'chaverta, nimtza maniach b'shteim, shtayim shtayim l'malum, shtayim shtayim l'matam. Chatacha, he cut it, u'nesala misha zachaba. He gave these parts to the next winner. V'hashidra ima v'atchol toliba. V'hoysa gedoyla, it was large. El shel yamin karin gedoyla shakovet toliba. Bolay la'oketz, he came to the tail. Choysa u'nesala misha zachaba. He gave it to the next winner. All together, you only have 6 winners here for the parts of the animal. Not al rega hasmoli, he took the left leg, but he gave it to the Kohen who won that lottery. Okay, we finished cutting up the animal. We gave out the parts to the 6 Kohanim. Where are we holding now? So the Mishnah summarizes everything that we did. Harishon, the first Kohen in line to go up the ramp, is winner number 5 of lottery 2. Harishon, Barosh Uvarega. He's carrying the head in his right hand and the right leg in his left hand. Harosh Bimino, the head in his right hand. V'chot mo klape Yisrael, v'kana bein aitzva'osav, u'beish chitos lo mailan, v'hapeder nos nolel, v'haregel shel yamin, the right leg b'smola is in his left hand. So winner number 5 is carrying the head in his right hand, and he's carrying the right leg in his left hand. Ubeis orelachos. Hasheni, winner number 2 of the animal parts, who is really number 6 of lottery 2, b'shtei yadayim. He's carrying the front, what we call the hands, the front 2 legs of the animal. Shel yamin b'minai b'shel smol b'smol. The right leg in his right, the right hand in his right hand, the left hand in his left hand. Ubeis orelachos. Hashlishi, the third Kohen of these winners, who is winner number 7. Ba'oketz uvaregel. He's carrying the tail and he's carrying the leg. Ha'oketz bimino va'al yimum b'doldelas beinetz ba'osav. He's carrying the tail and the different parts that attach to the tail in his right hand. Ve'etzva ha'koved u'shtei ha'klois imoi. Ha'regel shel smol b'smol. And the left leg is in his left hand. Ubeis orelachutz. Harvi'i, the first coin, the fourth coin, which means winner 8 of lottery 2. Bechaza uvageira, he has the chest of the animal and the neck. Hechaza bimino, the chest in his right hand. V'hagera b'smolo, and the neck in his left hand. V'tzaloser bein etzba osa. Hachamishi, winner number 5 of the 6 Kohanim, which means number 9 of lottery 2. B'shtei defanos, he's carrying the two sides of the animal. Shel yamin b'mina, yeah. B'shel smol b'smolo, and the left side of the animal in his left hand. Ubeis arnachutz hashishi, the sixth kohen of the six kohanim who are bringing the body parts to the ram, which is winner number 10. Bakravayim hanasunim b'bozach. He's carrying the insides of the animal, but he's carrying them in a bowl. Ukraayim al gabeim u'malam. That's segment number 2 of lottery 2. The carriers of the animal limbs. So far we had 10 winners. Hashvi'i, the 7th winner, which means number 11 of the second lottery. Basolas, he's bringing the flour, the oil, up to the ram. Hashmini, the 8th winner, which means number 12 of lottery 2. Bachavitin, he's bringing those 6 chalos of the 12 for the Kohen Gadol. Hachi, the 9th winner of lottery 2, which means number 13. Bayayin, he's going to bring the wine up to the rim. Holchun unasanu mechatzi hakevesh ulamata b'maravoi. They now marched. Winner number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They marched towards the rim of the kevesh, and each of them put on the rim whatever he was holding on the lower half of the rim, b'maravo, and the western lower half of the rim is where they would put their things down, umalachum, and they salted everything with the exception of winner 13, who was carrying wine. In this case, you do not salt the wine. Everything else got salt poured on them, all the limbs of the animal, the flour, and the chavitin, the chalos that were baked for the Kohen Gadol, all got salt put on them. They were flipped over so that both sides would have salt, and they left these 9 things on the ram. They went back to the Lishkas Hagazis, where lottery number 2 occurred. And that's the Lishkas Hagazis where the Sanhedrin meets. And they take a pause now. They do not take the parts to the fire. Stop, just leave them on the ram. They came into the Lishkas Hagazis, Likros Eshema. Kohanim have to daven. And what they're going to do, they're going to have an abridged kind of davening because they're in the middle of the avoda. They're going to go now into Lishkas Hagazis with the 9 things left on the ram, and they're going to read Kriya Shema in the Lishkas Hagazis. And that's where Perek begins. Amolahem Hamamuna, Berchu Bracha Avas. For those who learned Masech the Brachas, this is a sugya Masech the Brachas, Daf Yud Beis, Amid Beis, and Daf Yud Gimel, Amid Aleph, about the Kohanim reading Kriya Shema and what brachas they made before Kriya Shema, what brachas they didn't make before Kriya Shema, their Shmona Esrei, etc. It's a whole sugya in Masech the Brachas, which Bli Neder will take a look at tomorrow. Before we continue with Perek tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, Bli Neder, we're going to take a very quick step by step from the time the Kohanim arrived last night to sleep in the Beis Hamoked through today when they brought up the Evorim to the Kevesh. That's what we're up to right now. Everything that we've learned has been done. Mizbeach has been cleaned, outside Mizbeach, inside Mizbeach. The animal's been slaughtered. The Zrikas Hadam, the candles have been cleaned. We haven't gotten yet to the cleaning of the last 2 sticks, which would have occurred now after the Zrikas Hadam. And we're going to go through that sort of in an orderly way according to the Shita that we learned it. And then Bli Neder will continue with Perek, how the Kohanim davened in the middle of the Avoda. They're in the middle of being makriv of the Korban Tamid. The parts of the animal around the ram, pause, go, say Kriya Shema, and daven.